Hello everybody, this is finally RedRunner97 doing a full walk around video that I've been saying I was going to do for the past 2 years. Finally have some time today. It's a nice 106 degrees today out here. And I've been banished from society because I have COVID. So might as well do this today. This is a 1997 Toyota 4Runner automatic with the 3.4 V6, and there's not much left on this that is original or at least been taken out and rebuilt. I picked it up. It was pretty much the top was black, this side was still red, and this side of it, which is the ugly side, was pink because it sat in someone's driveway for years, not washed and not taken care of at all. So I picked up for a pretty good deal late 2017. It was supposed to be, let's do a mild lift, off-road tires, maybe a Walmart roof rack, and yeah, here's where we're at today. So I'll go over some of the exterior things first. I'm actually running 295 7017s on this, a little bit bigger than what you can cram in there. Method MV 205s or 215s in bronze. It's a tight fit. I didn't really do any modifications, kind of let the tires do it themselves. I'm on my second washer tank and I think third washer pump, but you gotta have some issues, right? The snorkel I had installed locally here. If you're in the SoCal area or on some of the SoCal 4Runner pages, hit up Anwar. He will hook it up with a snorkel install. I had him do it because I had just painted the fender and the hoods, and he's like, hey, I have a snorkel, you want to put it in? And I was gonna cry if I had to drill this myself, so I let him do it. Came out super clean, even fits the ditch lights barely. I mean, there's clearance, but not much. I usually run the pre-filter during the winter months or if we go off-roading. Rock sliders are from Lantis Metalworks. He makes them. You can install them if you need, but these are welded onto the frame. Originally, it didn't come with the mud flaps. I think there's 3 different 4Runners on here from various junkyards I had to piece together when I first got it. Roof rack was also a custom roof rack. Someone local used to make them. It's pretty much a knockoff of, I believe, the Baja rack. And then it was pretty roughly made. So I went through, re-welded a bunch of it, bed linered it, added lights. And I do have a rooftop tent. I'll make a separate video on that and how it goes on and off. Keep the old traction boards up here. This is your Amazon light bar. Don't use it too much. It's kind of blinding on the windshield and off the hood. Now, one of my favorite things is my rear bumper. 4x Innovations rear bumper with the tire swing out, and I do highly recommend this bumper. I say the only downside to it is the pin that holds this in. If you live on a hill or a slight driveway, a sloped driveway like this, if you let it go too many times, it will break the pin. They're fairly easy and cheap to replace. They do have them. If you call them up, they always answer the phone. You can get parts for it. I even swapped out one of these arms. You can buy just the arm. I run one Scepter water can and a NATO Harbor Freight gas can. They've both been lifesavers on trips. I think it's a Smittybuilt high lift jack, farm jack, whatever you call it. Spare tire mount. Now, when I did go up a size in tires with the full size matching spare, I did have to space it with a 2-inch spacer so that I would have enough clearance between the jack to get this out when I need. Now, if you can do it without a spacer, without a jag, you can, there's different ways to do it, but I've found this was the best way that worked for me. Power coming up to an old lighted LED whip and my license plate lights. This bumper is crazy thick. It's heavy. It took me, my buddy, and a cherry picker to get it on there. It came in 3 pieces: the gas can, the arm, and the bumper. Definitely heavy. So if you're planning ahead to do a big bumper like this, whether it be 4x Innovations or CBI or someone else like that, get good springs ahead of time. I was originally running Toytec's Superflex coils, which hands down were probably one of the best riding coils I had, but far too soft for this much weight. So I'm now running the OME 861 heavy duty coils for the front of a Land Cruiser. They fit perfectly in here, they ride great, they handle the weight, and they handle the weight with the tent and all of our gear that we take on there. As you can see, I also have onboard air tanks. I think it's a Via Air from Amazon or wherever. Some cheap eBay tanks and your generic fittings. Got some old train horns in there. But yeah, this, back to the bumper, this thing is pretty heavy duty. Made my own CB mount when I used to work sheet metal. I know there's places you can get them. I can't think off the top of my head. I'll also try and put links to anything I mentioned in here. If not, message me or comment and I will respond with any questions you guys need. So in the back here, another company I highly recommend is Outbound, Nevada. Guy Brian, awesome dude. I've met him a few times. Pails are great for keeping smaller stuff that you can get to a lot. Keeps a lot of stuff out of the way. I keep a lot of my recovery and extra gear in here. And, if I need just a jumper cables, it's a mess to get to, but I definitely recommend these. Plus, keep someone from busting out your rear window, hopefully. Pretty easy to install. Some rib nuts up here. They go right in. He's got good instructions for it. And I don't have them hooked up, but you can hook up, oh, it's right here, switches. This one was too big, but you can hook up switches to power whatever you desire. Here is my pre-filter. Still got dirt and dust in it from King of the Hammers. This didn't originally come with a spoiler, so I had to get this from the junkyard. Put it on there, that was a fun task. Amazon special light bar, I think it's X-Bright. Hooked up to my turn signals, brake lights. It's got the amber flashers. It's fun to use. Do a lot of the off-road recoveries out here. I live out in the desert. People are always getting stuck up here in the mud and snow during the winter. That's it. This is the ugly side. I have the paint to finish repainting it, but the front was already a task and a half doing it myself. Rear shocks, I'm actually running Bilstien 5100s. They're pretty good. They do okay with the heavy duty springs. They are a little soft when it comes to rebound, so I will be switching to the Bilstien 5165s, which is the reservoir shocks. A little less travel, a lot more rebound control. So I'm gonna be trying those out here pretty soon. Going back up to the front. These are, I'll let this guy go by. These are actually off of Amazon. They used to be called Element LED. They've since, I guess, been bought out by some kind of other company. I think 60 bucks for the pair. And as far as Amazon pods go, probably the best pods I've found for your money. So I got the amber ones up here and the clear here, which are actually hooked to my high beams because I have custom front headlights. I made these myself. You can do it pretty cheap. I mean, it's been a few years. I don't think the prices have gone up too much, but I believe I built these. I bought the new housings, the shrouds, and generic headlights with HID bulbs for about 180 bucks. There's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to do it. I would recommend trying it yourself before you spend $400, $500, $600 getting it from somewhere else. I finally got matching corner lights. You can get these on eBay, or you can soak your stock housings in purple powder, which actually strips off all the chrome on the inside. And that's another way to do it. Look down here, the front suspension. I have the GBA upper control arms. I honestly originally bought these over the other company because they were red, and of course it's RedRunner, so why not? But I do love them. Great upper ball joint. They're affordable. I have no alignment, caster, camber issues. The front suspension, these are actually the Toytec E-Bach front springs. I just had them re-powder coated red to match recently with the Bilstien. I think it's a 5100 series. I'll post the part numbers and links for this too in there. I should be running better bump stops. I'm not, I know. I'll get there. Did the Tundra brake upgrade. I have Snowbound Customs spindle lights. These are actually really cool. They work. They're more just for fun, but I really do like them with the small 1-inch amber pods. They are Diode Dynamics. That's it. Diode Dynamic LEDs. Super bright for how small they are. They're nice and compact. They fit in there. It does work with the spindle gussets. You do have to cut a little piece out of it for the wire harness to fit nice in there, but it is doable. I'm also running Doc Off-Road full skids since Savage is no longer there. Again, super heavy duty. The Doc brothers are great. Check them out on Instagram as Doc Off-Road. Super affordable, super high quality skid plates. I say I have the whole thing covered from the radiator, transmission, transfer case, all the way back. 4 pieces. That's for down here. Got the Lotus skid plates on the control arms. I bought them up here locally. I haven't had to use them yet. The rear diff is, this whole thing's been re-geared to 488s from Hooper's rear end. And if you're in the Southern California, Los Angeles area, check out Hooper's rear end. They've been around for years. I've never had any problems with them. Great guys. They did their rear. I had already installed a Spartan locker in the back. It's been there at least 50,000 miles, no problems. I love it, especially for the affordability of it. The front was also re-geared by Hoopers. They installed a Spartan front locker for me with that. I haven't been able to get out and really use it yet because of all the other issues I've had this year on this, like rebuilding the disc, rebuilding the roof rack. I blew the motor, which I will get to in a little bit. I had to drop the trans because I thought something was loose. It's been a wild year this year for this thing. Don't mind the wires. We'll have to, you don't see those. I'll cover those up later. And then the rear These are my own custom quick disconnect sway bar links. That's my first generation there. And then my newer ones that use actual bushings from Energy Suspension. I actually sell these, waiting on getting a new set in here. So you pull the pin on one or both sides, your sway bar moves up. If you run good bushings or newer bushings, you can fold it up and it doesn't get in the way. You can pull it out. And that gives you all the suspension travel you need when you're off-road without it being like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride while you drive down the freeway and don't roll your rig. In the front, I have a addicted off-road front bumper. Nice high clearance. I wasn't a fan of the look when I first got it, but to be honest with you, I wouldn't go another way now. I actually won this in a raffle. That's what started the spiral of spending money on bigger, better parts for this. I won the front bumper in a raffle, said why not spend the money, buy a matching rear bumper. That turned into sliders, which turned into a roof rack, and well, you guys know how it goes from there. But the front bumper, it's nice and lightweight. I have the Smittybuilt 8,000 pound winch in here with the synthetic rope, trying to keep the weight down in the front. Drives a lot better. Great bumper, affordable. Their lead times are pretty long. So if you're willing to wait for a good bumper, I'd recommend it. Now, I say that my only complaint about them is their instructions are not clear. And I've had many people message me on Instagram asking why their bumper sits 2 inches or sometimes 6 inches low. Because when they ship this, they unbolt it because it's a 2-piece bumper. You have the bumper and like this frame that this bolts to your frame, and then the bumper bolts to this piece. Now when they ship it, they unbolt it, and I can't remember if they flip it or they turn it inside out to reduce the shipping cost. Well, nowhere in their instructions does it say that you have to undo that. So it sits really crazy if you don't fix it, especially if you order it with a body lift, because now instead of being up 3 inches for your body lift, it's now negative 3 inches. So you put it on there, you're down 3 in a 3-inch body, so now you have a 6-inch gap between where it's supposed to be and the hood, and it looks ridiculous. So that's something to watch out for if you want to go with one of these bumpers. It does stick out pretty far, but it's just nice and flush. I like it. Yes, I joined the Sport Hood fanboys. Got at the local junkyard, like 40 bucks. Picked up a nice rock chip last trip to Arizona. AVS deflector. Now, if you do want to buy one of these, there's two. There's an AVS Bugflector 2, which I believe is this one, the full length, and the Bugflector 1, which ends right about here, a little bit smaller. I found that out the hard way, ordering a new one after my last one broke. Custom grill, I made this myself out of my stock grill. It's pretty simple to make. You have to cut all this out, fit it with Bondo, sand it down. And this is actually screen door material. It's supposed to be for protecting screen doors when you have pets and dogs and stuff like that. So works pretty good. Got this, I believe, from eBay. Also, side note, check this out on eBay. Be careful, because when I ordered my first one, I found a really good deal on one. I think it said something like 2 by 12, and it was like 10 bucks. Yeah, well, it was millimeters, so it was about that big, about that long. So make sure you buy the right one. Don't pull a move like I did. Just pop 2 little holes in there, and I used JB weld and some small screws to hold this whole thing in. Again, try to do all this stuff yourself before you spend a couple $100, doing it this way. Something I did forget on the front end, on the diff, it's hard to see, but I do have the 1 inch or 2 inch diff drop. to bring the front diff down to get my axle, CV axle a little bit better of an angle. I have the Toytec stainless steel extended front brake lines as well as the rear extended brake line for the rear diff. If you do lift the rear any, I recommend getting a longer rear brake line. If you get a T100 brake line, it's longer than the stock 4Runner one, but not as long as the extended brake line. So if you're just doing a leveling kit, maybe 1 inch, 2 inches, that'll work. It's a lot cheaper. You can go to your local auto parts store and get it. But if you're doing the Land Cruiser Old Man Emu shocks, springs like I did, without the rear bumper, this thing sat like 5-6 inches high in the back. So it looks a little crazy without any weight on it, but once you get some weight on it, it sits nice and level. Everything I forgot. Found these at the junkyard. No clue if they're off this car or not. Just happened to find those, and I love them. Kind of protects it. Someone hit me, took this off, but saved the taillight. Trying to figure out what else I've got here. Look inside. Not too much is done to the inside. Your typical 1997 interior. Nothing special. Seats are holding up okay. Got the Motor Trend Amazon floor mats. They actually work pretty good. Probably a favorite interior mod is going to be this switch panel, which is from Paranoid Fabrication. They're a little hard to find. This is actually for a Tacoma. It does fit in here if you're running a single DIN radio. Do not throw away your factory radio mounts, because I did, and it took me a while to find them, because that's how it bolts this to your radio and the whole thing goes in. My onboard air, emergency lights. I have a left side light, a right side light. These are for the spindle lights. This little USB charger is great when I'm camping. I can keep an eye on my battery voltage, and I can run this little fan for the dog, or we run it up to our tent at night, and we can run the fan all night, plus charge our phones all night. Doesn't drain the battery. They got train horns, well, Amazon train horns in here. This is a new addition. It's PA. I honestly just wanted it for the horn. Oh, ignition has to be on, but it's got a police horn, siren. You have extra switches if you have them hooked up, and the PA. Archon phone mount. This is really nice because it's not really a lot of space to mount stuff in here. It does rattle a little bit, but overall it's pretty good. And one of those that have the patches everywhere. My own patch. Here's my left side light, emergency light. Oh, let's turn on the bar. Fog lights, light bar. That turns on the lights that go to the turn sensor brake lights. If you hold it down, it should be flashing. Oh, didn't hold it down long enough. There we go. And you can change the flash pattern on this. This I have it. I'm gonna hook it up to my reverse lights. That one's just white. Another thing I forgot to mention is these lights up here are actually a company called Tomar, and I bought them a while ago at the Mint 400. They had a booth. I run them as my turn signals, and man, are they bright. And it's like they get brighter the farther away you get, so they work great for throwing light pretty far. I've had the ones down there for years, and I actually have them on my other truck down there. I've had them for years. They're a little pricey, but excellent lights. Turn that on. At the J shift, being that's a 97, I believe it's a 97 to 99s had the J shift part-time four-wheel drive. If there's anything else I can think of, I will add it in the description or the comments or make a separate video. I'm gonna make a separate video on the rooftop tent and how it goes on and off. I know rooftop tents get a lot of hate. You either love them or you hate them. For me, I love it. It's very easy. I can get it on and off the roof pretty easy. I even get the dog up there. She loves it. So I'll make a separate video on that. It's just too hot today to be climbing up there and going in there and setting all that up. Another thing I can actually show is the engine. I've got a brand new to me engine. My last engine blew at 288, 188. I now have 290 on this old girl. Last engine was running pretty good before it went. She was getting tired. And then coming home from work, lost a head gasket, I believe. But it still made it home. Overheated it a little bit. That's the original engine right there. Still have it sitting in here. But this is the JDM engine. Swapped almost everything over from mine. All the plenums and intakes, exhaust manifolds, the valve covers, all the accessories are from the old engine. So everything else is either original, new. Most of the stuff I did was new. Now I'm running with the snorkel. I'm running the stock airbox with a K&N drop-in filter with a modified K&N tube to get rid of all the baffles and all that craziness. I did add on an oil catch can this time around, and everything in here is pretty stock. New radiator, all new coils, new plugs, new wires. As far as the Tundra brake upgrades go, a lot of people have issues with the Tundra brake upgrades, with it not stopping, it pulling, all kinds of stuff. Do the Tundra brake upgrade. It's very simple. Just change the calipers. You might have to cut the dust shield a little bit. Do the stainless steel brake lines. One thing I did come to find out, when you hit the brakes, they stop, but it's spongy. If you come to your brake booster, follow this line, it comes onto this intake tube. When I was actually in a automotive brake class at the time, and we were messing, we took this fitting off. When you take the fitting off from here, there's a very small hole, so it's like the hole is reduced to allow less vacuum through. So we drilled it out as big as we could without damaging the fitting, and the motor didn't seem to react to the vacuum difference, and that's why I went ahead and went with it. And man, did it really increase the response time and the brake regain doing that. So that's a definite trick that not a lot of people know with the Tundra brake upgrade. And also when you do that, adjust your rear brakes. I usually adjust them to where they just both start to drag a little bit and they'll burn in, nothing to worry about, and then it stops really good. The rear brakes are drums, they don't stop the best, but if you slam the brakes with these Tundra brake kit, it noses down pretty good and it stops quick. But as far as the motor goes, it's a JDM. I got it with a little under 15,000 miles on it for about 2,400 bucks, which is a lot for what these motors used to be. You should be able to pick these up all day long for $800-900 bucks, but now I'm already seeing them go for $2,700. So if you're looking for a JDM engine, you can get them. The engine swaps are the new to me engine. I resealed everything, timing belt, water pump, valve covers, spark plugs, all that stuff, motor mounts, a bunch of other miscellaneous stuff. It costs just under $4,000, which is a lot, but as far as what prices are today, that's not bad. And if you want to keep it around for a long time, it's highly worth it. I priced out the difference between doing a motor swap versus rebuilding my engine, and I want to say doing the swap was only about $300 to $500 more than having it rebuilt. So that's up to you if you want to swap it or rebuild it. Oh, I have also added a Hayden transmission cooler. One of the very first times I off-roaded it out here in the heat in the desert, I actually got a transmission hot light, or hot trans temp light. So I thought, let it cool down, checked it. It was actually low on fluid, so I added this in there, topped it off, and I've never had an issue since. So I think that's it for now. Watch out for more videos. I'll do one about the tent. I might wait till we're actually camping to do it. But here's the, for me, long-awaited full walk-around video of RedRunner97. And it's a 1997 Toyota 4Runner. Got just under 300,000 miles on it. And as long as I can keep it in one piece, this thing will go to my kids in 18 to 20 years.